And good evening all, welcome back to another playthrough live and exclusive to YouTube. I am your host Swishbone for the remainder of the evening. And for those of you who've never been here before, normally on this channel we play games live, blind for the first time. But this series is where we've gone all the way back to the early 2000s when I was at college and university, playing this game as my jam. This is Gran Turismo 4 on the PlayStation 2. For those of you who have been here before, whether you've been watching me lose my mind play through the likes of the Crash Bandicoot quadrilogy, or the Persona games and the Shin Megami Tensei games, or the Danganronpa games. Perhaps you've watched the descent into madness as Kaiju Alice in Alice Madness Returns, or even you've been here for the really old school streams like Final Fantasy VII and Forza 4 on the Twitch channel. Either way, a huge welcome back to all of you. Without all of you people, both new and old, well, this channel it would be active, but nowhere near as interactive or as reactive. So one more time, the chat box is over in that direction. Get your messages in there and I'll do what I can to interact with you all. But we are, yes, about to carry on the Formula GT Championship. This is essentially the unofficial hybrid of Formula 1 and IndyCar, set up by Polyphony Digital on the PlayStation 2. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to qualify on this one because it's New York, a bit of an annoying circuit in many ways. Now, we're going to get ourselves started and get ourselves going. Joe jumping into the chat saying good evening mate, good evening to you. Now get ready for this, watch. Check it out. I figured it out. Changing my view gets rid of get ready to drive. I've managed to get rid of it. I found a setting buried deep in the system I'm using to run this game, and by switching that toggle on, it now means all I have to do is change view and get ready to drive disappears. We finally have an unrestricted view. Good evening to Exeter Tales all jumping in there saying hello as I've just gone right into the wall. Cold tyres went straight in. Failed to warm my tyres and went straight into the wall. David Coulthard-esque at Monza in 1995. Not very good indeed. So we're going to do a quick warm-up and then qualify before we get into the race proper. So even as all you people, how you're all doing, you're all doing great. And needless to say, everything's going a bit smooth here at the moment, although I hate this section of the circuit in these cars. They have absolutely no turning lock whatsoever. So getting round those corners is an absolute pain in the proverbial. But hey, we'll do what we can. And yay, indeed, I agree with you, Axitail. It's definitely something I want to celebrate. Getting rid of that annoying text is the last thing I need on my stream. So we'll get a nice clean entrance there. Brush the outside wall. And on the way we go towards this very high-speed, high-octane version of New York. I don't believe that the very centre of Times Square has had racing for some time, though I do know that the Formula E series actually had a race at New York years ago. Although this season that's just gone, they did a race at some permanent circuit in, I think it was in Portland, Oregon, and it looked very, very unusual. Like a club level circuit where they're on Formula E cars, and it was pretty exciting to watch. Oh, we've gone too deep. Ow. That's not good for our lap time, people. We braked way too late there. Just because I'm in a Formula 1 car doesn't mean I can brake at 20 metres from the corner anymore. I have to actually use my brakes. Speaking of Formula 1, of course, this coming weekend, it's the Circuit of the Americas weekend, I believe. And it's going to have a sprint race there, which I'm possibly going to miss, because I've got a friend who's staying with me from Friday until Sunday. So I'm going to be offline after the Wednesday, and we'll be back next week with the Hallow stream. Now, for those of you who don't know, on Halloween, I'm doing a stream where I will be breaking the seal on a banned PlayStation 2 survival horror game published by Atlas by the name of Rule of Rose. A very, very rare and very, very expensive game. I found a way to play it, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you all, and that is pole position. So we're going to have the front row of the grid. Yeah, triple header, isn't it? We've got COTA, the Circuit in the Americas, then we've got Mexico, and I believe after that it's down to Brazil. So going to be extremely exciting to say the least. So we take the lead. We lead from the Jordan and the Ferrari and the McLaren by the looks of it, as we head off in the Jag. Yes, we're in the green colours of the Jag. Right, change our view and let's get going. Got to be careful going into the first corner. Don't want to brake too late because my tyres are cold. I also don't want to give them an easy move on the outside of me either. There we go, back them all up. Carlos Sainz at Singapore style, and then we will take the lead and move on. As I say, certainly Circuit in Americas, Joe, is probably my favourite of the newer circuits. I loved it first time I saw it, mainly because Herman Tilke wasn't involved in the design of it. So they actually took a look at what works in other circuits and made a genuine challenge. because you have the opening sector, which is like the Sector 1 at Japan and the Beckett's complex at Silverstone. Then you've got the low drag, high speed setup as somewhere kind of like Spa in the middle sector, and then kind of like Hockenheim and Turkey at Istanbul Park combined for Sector 3. And those three sectors are really testing at the cars, and I love what the drivers do. But yeah, so we've already got quite a decent lead on the first lap. We pulled away, Max Verstappen-esque, and I guess it's time for us to do a Red Bull Go Burr on this one. I expect tyre wear to be absolutely awful at this circuit, because we've got a lot of slow speed corners and high acceleration traction zones, and that means we're going to be burning the tyres up very, very quickly indeed. Unlike at the Super Speedway, where I was able to cruise and go twice as long as the computer on the tyre wear, I'm expecting them to do less stops than me here, because I'm much harder on my tyres on this kind of circuit. But yes, isn't it nice to have an unobstructed view? Get ready to drive. I'm already driving. Stop telling me to get ready. It's like I was born ready. Leave me alone. Nice. We're very wide to the outside then, which is perfect. See the understeer then, trying to get into that corner of that complex. It's just so tricky to get the line right. Not designed for cars with such a tight turning circle. It's more designed for the sports cars and the muscle cars. Yeah, the Mexico Grand Prix circuit, it's kind of been butchered in a way because of that stadium section they added. I liked it when you went all the way around the Paratalda at the very final corner, which interestingly the Formula E actually used. Formula E used the old Paratalda layout, whereas the Formula 1, they used the stadium circuit, which is a bit of a mockery in my opinion. Yeah, it's great for the fans, don't get me wrong, the fans get to see the cars coming so close and so loud underneath them. But for the fans who are actually watching, it just breaks the flow of the circuit, and it's a real shame. Remember when Mansell went around the outside of, I think it was either Prost or Berger, at the Paratalda all the way back in the 80s in the Ferrari. You don't get moments like that in there anymore, it's a shame. And for those of you who I think are speaking in code, by the way, Paratalda is the old last corner at the Mexican Grand Prix circuit. Juan Armando Rodriguez circuit, I think it's called, its full name. Or am I confusing that with the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil? I probably am actually, I'm probably mixing my circuits up. Yes. I am a motorsport nerd. People know I like my motorsport. Though speaking of sport, I want to say a massive at the England cricket team losing to Afghanistan in the One-Day Cricket World Cup. That's the equivalent of Manchester City losing to Accrington Stanley in the football. It's the equivalent of Red Bull being beaten by a British touring car. British cricket is very much ashamed of that result. Whereas on the other hand, everyone wrote off the rugby team, and they're hearing a load of people, you know, you're the worst rugby side in the semi-finals from all the fans from Scotland and France and everywhere else. And the English fans are like, but I'm in the semi-final. The ultimate petty one-up comment, that's like, at least I'm still in the tournament. Nah. That's the kind of sneering impact we've got at the moment. It's the pride before the fall, because South Africa are going to curb stomp us at the weekend, by the way. Anyone who's watching the Rugby World Cup, if you bet on England for Saturday, you're a very brave or foolish person. So I hate that roundabout corner because you have to be so patient on the throttle. But it was worth it for a 1:14 lap time. I didn't think it was that fast. I think that's the problem when you drive these cars. You have no real sense of how fast you're going. It just feels like the car floats into the corner. Oh yeah, absolutely, Exeter, you're not wrong. English fans of sport love to gloat, even though we are the proverbial chokers as a nation. Apart from the Cricket World Cup in 2019, we always throw away anything. Anytime we're in a final, we always get curb stomped. The rumours about Perez, I've not heard any particular rumours. The last one I heard, Joe, is that apparently Red Bull wanted Lando Norris to take his seat, but as those of you who follow Formula 1 will know, he drives for McLaren. McLaren recently run a contract recognition board deal to keep Oscar Piastri when Alpine tried to block the move. I can't see McLaren allowing Lando out of their sight to go to Red Bull. Unless Dietrich Mateschitz has a huge... Not Dietrich Mateschitz, sorry, he's no longer with us. Helmut Marko, even. Unless Helmut Marko decides to literally empty the savings account of Red Bull, I can't see him being replaced. And I don't think Red Bull are going to be crazy enough to put Liam Lawson in the seat, even though he was very, very good in the AlphaTauri. He did an amazing job, deputising for Ricciardo and replacing Nick de Vries. Now, the only thing they could possibly do is maybe gamble on moving Yuki Tsunoda up and keeping Liam alongside Danny Ricciardo, but I can't see that happening. I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to happen this season. Also, could you imagine the backlash that Red Bull would get for benching the Mexican driver, literally just as the Mexican Grand Prix happens? They would have ridiculous amounts of backlash in the whole of like Middle and South America. So I just can't see it. It seems very, very unlikely to me. But then again, I've been wrong before. I said there was no way that Renault engineered a crash on purpose in 2008 in Singapore, and then in 2009 they admitted to it. Right, hang on, what was my controversial opinion then, Joe? Which one's the ouch part? Is it all of it, or is there any particular cliff notes you like to say? I said quite a lot at once, so I'm not sure what might be so painful to hear there. Give me the TLDR version. Yeah, I'll show the kiddie lingo that I know from the modern era. Yeah, this circuit feels very, very low grip. It doesn't feel like the tyres bite into it at all. I think it's because of the nature of the corners. The corners are so Mickey... Well, they use the phrase Mickey Mouse, don't they, for chicanes that are tight for no reason. It feels a bit like that. There's a lot of very short, rapid-fire tight turns. There's no real radius to open the car up into. And I'll just take a quick coffee break. It's don't mind me, it's only a high-speed Formula 1 circuit. I'll take a break to go have a coffee. Ah, interesting, the Ferraris got past the Jordan, but they're still way behind me. In fact, they could be as far as 25 seconds adrift. No, I'm wrong. More like 30 seconds adrift. 35 seconds adrift? They're 35 seconds behind me. Yeah, I don't see Perez leaving Red Bull this season either. And I'll be honest, unless they make a big change over the summer period, I don't think he's going to go next season either. But next season may well be his last. Will it be his last in the sport? I can't say for that for sure. But I do get the feeling that he's very much run out of time at Red Bull. They've run out of patience with him. It's a shame because he's a good driver and he is very funny in the paddock. He's done a lot for the team, like when he helped Max Verstappen win the title in 2021. He's done quite a lot for them, but I just get the feeling that they've reached a point where they're like, look, we need to have someone longer term in that seat. Someone who's going to be here for the next like 5 years plus. But and again, I think Red Bull need a serious change in their management style, to be honest, as well. I think they need to look at themselves and go, right, actually, we need to start developing a car that accommodates both drivers, or get two drivers of a very, very, very similar style so they can extract the maximum from the machine. Meanwhile, good evening, Irish Jack. Just seen you jump in there to the chat. How are you doing, mate? Good evening to you. I've already said it once, I'll say it to you again because I'm polite like that. I think at the end of the next lap I'm going to have to box. I'm starting to hear the tyres like squealing at the back. You know, getting that kind of fishtailing kind of approach, and no one likes that. You don't like to fishtail in these cars. It's not very comfortable to fishtail in a Formula 1 car. Yeah, you can hear the tyres. I'm going to do one more lap, but I reckon it's going to be a very slow one. And as for the track, Irish the Jack, it was described by Exeter as looking like a gun with a long handle. It's probably the biggest one there is. Danny in the Red Bull, I don't think so. He's not blown the doors off Tsunoda, and Liam Lawson was better than him. To be honest, I'm surprised that Danny Ricciardo has retained his seat at AlphaTauri. I fully expected Liam Lawson to be confirmed alongside Tsunoda for next season. I was absolutely flabbergasted when Lawson wasn't given the nod. So, unless they decide to maybe have some kind of agreement where Lawson does more testing in the main car to replace Perez, I don't think Ricciardo's going to be back in that Red Bull seat. I really don't think he's going to do it. Although I did hear a very interesting rumour the other week, but I don't think anything's going to come of it. Radio Le Mans, so take this with a very big heavy dose of salt here, one of their journalists was saying that they've heard rumours that Audi might be looking to shut down their Formula 1 project. Now bear in mind, they're not due to enter the sport until 2026, taking over the Sauber brand. And if that's the case, then that's a severe worry for the people at Windhill. Good fuel economy in this car at the moment. We might get out. Oh yeah, by the way, Arista Jack, you see to get ready to drive? Not anymore, you don't. I found a way to remove it. Right, we're more likely about 12 to 15 seconds ahead at the moment. Which is interesting considering we've already pitted. We've extracted the maximum from the car so far, which is awesome. Well, you say you're excited about who's going to get that seat, Joe, but they've already confirmed that Ricciardo and Tsunoda are driving at AlphaTauri next year. So the Red Bull is the only seat that they might have open. Again, it's an interesting one. I think a lot of it's going to come down to essentially where Red Bull see themselves going. Now bear in mind they have Ford joining them as an engine supplier in the 2026. Now Ford have a decent following in New Zealand and Australia, thanks to the brands that are specific to the ANZO region that is known, Australia and New Zealand. So it might possibly offer credence to either Ricciardo or Lawson coming back, purely as a way to get extra publicity for Ford Australia. So that is a very tenuous reason why one of them might get the seat in the next couple of seasons, and why Perez is very much on borrowed time, which is a shame. As I say, I like the guy, I really like Perez, but he never seems to be able to deliver consistent performance. That's his problem, that's what lets him down. He never seems to deliver over a full season. The fact that he went from being off the grid entirely with a Racing Point to driving for Red Bull in the first place was a miracle. The proverbial case of what might have been. horrendous understeer then. I think this circuit requires a much more refined setup than the one I've got, but to be honest, I'm still miles faster than the machines, so it's not a big deal. I'm doing enough to win this at a canter at the moment. Which is a good thing. Yeah, I went a bit too wide then. I felt the car just drifting ever wider. You know when you can just know the car is not gripping into the corner? That's literally what just happened. I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's not going to work. I just had a feeling. Now, interestingly, there's a lot of teams in the pits at the moment, so oddly enough, we might be close to getting a lap on the field here, and if that's the case, that's embarrassing. Get out of my way, Sauber driver. Move. Blue flags means get out of my way. Why is it they keep clipping the wall there? They always seem to hit the curb and go into the wall. Oh God, you're so slow. Oh, you are horrendously slow. Get out of my way, Enrique Binoldi. Unlike David Coulthard in the Monaco Grand Prix, I'm not going to sit behind you for 41 laps. Get out of my way. Oh, I hit the wall then, that's not very clever. As we continue our A spec of the Formula Gran Turismo, fingers crossed we'll be able to yeah, that's not a good thing. I wanted to use this straight to blast past him, but by hitting the wall I've completely screwed that up. I tried a Daniel Ricciardo move and it didn't work. Oi, who do you think you are unlapping yourself? Get back behind me, you. How dare you? Thinking you can unlap yourself. Who do you think you are? Eddie Irvine? Because if you do, I'll do what Ayrton Senna did to him and punch you in the bloody mouth. And yes, that's a true story actually. That's actually true. Eddie Irvine tried to unlap himself from Ayrton Senna whilst being lapped. I think it was the Japanese Grand Prix. And after the race, Senna punched him in the mouth. Which is a bit harsh when you think about it. He's entitled to try and unlap himself if he can go faster than the leaders. He doesn't have to sit there behind you forever. Ocon in Brazil in 2018, yes. Good reference. That's me saying, get out of my way. I might have also gifted Jordan the second place, and I think I did. Sorry, Mr. Ferrari driver. Oh, wait. I'd be saying sorry to Ferrari. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. How many years did the FAA stand for Ferrari International Assistance? Not anymore. Getting a decent lead on these guys. As I say, we're already a lap in front, which is awesome. We're probably not going to win by as many laps as last time, but given the last laps were only like 25 seconds long, it might equal out a similar distance. But we shall see. Another quick swig of my coffee. Yep, new fastest lap, courtesy of that massive long toe that I had behind the Jordan and the Ferrari. And all we're doing now is settling in for the long haul. This is going to take a while, this race, I'm afraid. It's one of the longer ones. It's what we got to do. It's just so nice to play a game where the races are so fast. And I say big props to those people who managed to win this tournament in a Group C Le Mans car. Some madheads have actually done it. And while I can understand the super speedway, thanks to the sheer amount of pit stops that the AI goes for, I don't know how you do it on a circuit like this. I've no idea where we're going next in this race, actually. I've no idea what the next race is going to be. I took way too much curb then, but I'm going to get away with it. In fact, I came very close to breaking the speed. If I'd have got that turn right, I'd have shattered my record. Peugeot 905, nice. I've seen one video, not watched it, but I saw it mentioned, I think it was on GT Planet, where someone had won it in the 787B, the Mazda, which is, I say, it's still amazing no matter what car you use. It's phenomenal, absolutely incredible. The Peugeot 905, that was the car I used to use to troll people on Forza 4 online. They'd all turn up in the Sauber C9 Mercedes, which was absolutely broken. It was a DLC car, and it had got top speeds and grip beyond anything else in the game. And I used to win and beat them in the Peugeot 905. Not because I was a driving god, I just drove far cleaner than them. So I've got a clip from Forza 4 online, way back in the archive, called Barrel Rolls of Fun, where someone in my party chat decided to be an absolute troll and cause a pile-up, and my car literally barrel rolls about 9 times. I'm driving like an old BMW, like a 1970s BMW, in cockpit view, and you just see Sky C, Sky C, Sky C. That's literally all you see. As I say, at some point I will love to do another playthrough of this game, but using the randomizer mod, just to see what kind of carnage we get from the game. Play the Sunday Cup and win the Formula Gran Turismo. Get all gold in the S license and win a Honda Civic, or a Toyota Yaris in pink. Win the 24 Hour of Le Mans, and your prize is the Mercedes-Benz Motorwagen 1886. That's the kind of thing that would happen, people. It'd be crazy. We wouldn't have a clue what was coming next. And of course, because of that, it would be a roulette wheel. The audience would have control of what race we do. That would be the big one. That's one of the future plans in the future. Once I'm done with the main campaign, I'll find a way to get it working. So I think I need a different version of GT4 to make it work. But I want to do some research on it. And it would literally be, right, what race are we going to do? Here's the options. Let's see what kind. There'll be a prediction. What car do you think we're going to win? And the closest person gets bragging rights, assuming you don't get it right, of course. But we are going into the pits on this lap because the tyres have given up the ghost. The proverbial ghost has been given up, so we'll get into the pits while we can. Whoa! Told you the tyres are giving up the ghost. Told you the tyres are giving up. They've hit what's known in Formula 1 circles as the cliff and sent us flying over the side of it. I was listening for the guns coming off the tyres. The reason I'm using the fuel at the moment is just so I can make sure I've got plenty of fuel in the tank, and I think we're just going to retain our lap on the field. If that's the case, that's hilarious. I've managed to pit and still come out a lap in front of them. Not by much, admittedly, but I've come out a lap ahead of the field. That's hilarious. The slightly longer gear ratios will give me a chance here because I can pull extra speed back. The only problem I've got is very cold tyres, so getting away from them early doors isn't going to be easy. But once I'm free, I'm going to be so far in front, it's going to be beyond a joke. Because I'm going to be about a lap and a half ahead by the time that happens when they come out of the pits. Because I'm already something daft like 4 to 5 seconds a lap quicker than them, I think. We have a lap and 4 seconds on the field, so we've gained about 4 seconds on that lap, including poor lap times because of the tyres warming up. So we pulled 4 seconds on that one lap alone. That's insane. Nice one. We're doing good thus far. As I say, this is going to be a long race. This is going to be about an hour and 45 minutes, I reckon. This one's going to take a while, purely because of the amount of pit stops and the length of the laps. It's a shame, really. But we're also absolutely dominating on pace, so it's not that big a deal. We're just going to settle in for the long haul. Back in the 114s already. On this kind of circuit you do get a big sense of tunnel vision because you're right in between the buildings, so there's not many times that you're in daylight. You're constantly looking for the line, and it'd be an interesting challenge if they had day to night transitions at this race. Seeing the way the sun gets affected in the buildings on certain straights would be quite fascinating. Obviously it's not something they could have really done in this era, but in the modern era with GT7 and everything else, there's no excuse for them to not try it. But then again, they can't, because New York's not in GT7. It's one of the many tracks that is considered a classic and has not come back for years. Although there is a rumour going around, according to a user on Twitter who's done some data mining, that a big update to GT7 is due. I am holding my breath, not holding my breath on that one. Meanwhile, good evening, Avian. Do you notice something which is not on the screen? Do you notice something which has been banished? Yes, unbelievably, I've found a setting deep in my machine that allows me to turn it off. It comes back every time I go into the pits, and I get rid of it every time. You will see in 7 laps time. As long as you're still watching, you might get bored by that point, and I wouldn't blame you if you did. But it's good that you're doing good so far. Excellent. First day of the week. Try and get it down as quick as possible. It's a very tight and twisty circuit, this. So I'm guessing they must have gone into the pits, because they seem to be quite far behind me now. If they haven't gone into the pits, then they're going to be really far behind me. Let's find out now. Keep an eye on the dots. Oh, you're on vacation, are you, this week? Well, that's awesome, Avian. That's exactly how it should be. You enjoy it. You got many plans for anything to do, or are you just going to take it nice and smooth? Being on vacay is always good. Everyone loves that. Right, it looks like they've just gone into the pits now, so I'm going to be well in front by the time they're done. By the time they filter out, which is just ridiculous. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but their pit stops seem to take ages, which makes me think they must go onto full fuel each time, and if that's the case, I'll be gaining seconds in the pit stops every single window, because I always run my fuel quite low. So they've just come out now, and you can see how far ahead I am. I'm miles clear. As for the next track, I've no idea where it's going to be, Joe. I'm hoping it'll be somewhere fast and fluid. Knowing my luck, it'll be Monte Carlo. Oh God, that bleeding horrible France circuit, Opera Paris. Ah, your dog has a appointment at the place of ultimate evil. I know where you mean. As far as the dog's concerned, it's the only place more evil than the Inland Revenue headquarters. I know exactly where you mean. Right, this is interesting because the two other cars have only just got in, so the Ferrari has gone through, but not yet come through to take its position. That's really intriguing. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't look forward to it if I was the doggo either, or taking my doggo. It's not an experience that's very pleasant. Certainly not for me. As we continue our demolishing of the opposition here at New York, New York. Missed the apex by a country mile and wasn't even close to it. But that was better. Not a good place to catch traffic here. I want to get through here as quick as I can and running up. Yeah, that's right. Stay behind me. Get back in the loser lane where you belong. Stay away from my first place, you. Oh, drifted wide there, a little bit of wheel slip. Oh, that wasn't very nice on the suspension. We turned into a lowrider for a second then, people. Yeah, lowrider F1 car, that'd be an experience and a half, wouldn't it? Stand on the back spokes going at 180 miles an hour. With five times the level of gravity pressing against your body. I do love all the little background details in this circuit, even though it is a PS2 era game. It's like all the logos and the sight of the ambulances in the background, it's just so cool. had to get past him quickly. I could not risk being stuck behind him. Well, what, Joe? What are you well-erring? What's got your attention? Well, yes, that's true. Yes, the CLR, the Mercedes CLR. The car that Peter Dunbrack drove at Le Mans in 1999. I say drove, he piloted it at one point. Because the car literally backflipped over the barricade and landed in the forest. To this day, not many people know this, but Peter Dunbrack is only alive because of the side of the car that Mercedes chose to drive it. I believe the car was left-hand drive. Now, basically, when it landed in the forest, what happened is a tree stump impaled through the chassis on the right-hand side of the car. So basically where the other seat would have been. Had they chosen to run the car in British spec, right-hand drive, he would have been impaled and killed. But because they drove it in European spec, he survived. How's that for monumentally lucky? I read that years ago on a story commemorating the disaster many years on, and it's one of the luckiest escapes in history that very few people know about. I'm pretty certain it was either left-hand drive and it went through the right side, or it was right-hand drive and went through the left side. Either way, by pure luck, he survived. Oh God, yes, I didn't see the footage, but I heard about it. Took off at the Nürburgring. Was it during the 24-hour, like the Nürburgring 24-hour race? I remember seeing something about it. I've not seen any footage, and to be honest, I don't want to. It was really quite gnarly. But yeah, I've heard about that, definitely. So the Mercedes CLR is the car that Mark Webber took off in twice. Once in practice, when they blamed it, or when they blamed him for it, and then it happened again in the warm-up before the race happened. And at that point, he was just like, "Get me out of here," basically. And like, interesting factoid actually, a bit of a link to Red Bull. When the aerodynamic flaw was highlighted, they reached out to none other than the legend himself, Adrian Newey, by telephone, and said, "Look, is there anything we can do?" And his first response was, to be honest, "Don't enter the race," which they should have done, really. In hindsight, that's what they should have done. But he said, if you really are determined to race, you might want to put some emergency winglets on the front of the car, and whatever you do, don't slipstream along the Mulsanne, because that's where your car's getting this aerodynamic unsettling. Then Peter Dunbrack saw a chance to overtake the Toyota GT1. Got deep into the slipstream, and I think he ended up going through a 1080-degree flip before he landed in the forest, and threw a load of earth all over the circuit. If you actually find the footage of it, there's a British commentator who commentates over it. He's like, oh my goodness, that is a huge accident. The Mercedes has took off, and meanwhile, Avian, just for you, there goes, get ready to drive. I've just got rid of it for you. It's like the most understated commentary in the world. It's like, yes, the car has taken off and it's flipping through the air 5, 6, 7 times. It's landed in the forest. Well, I hope the driver's going to be okay. Yellow flags are clearly out and the safety car has been deployed. So you're here at the Le Mans 24 Hour being led at the moment by the Toyota GT. It was literally like that. It was almost like total nonchalance, British stifle politeness at its highest level. And yes, so Peter Dunbrack's car took off, and as I say, there was also the one that Webber piloted alongside. I think it might have been Nick Heidfeld, actually. I think it might have been Webber, Heidfeld, or somebody else were in that car. In the end, Mercedes retired the second car halfway through the race, pulled down the shutters, and that was the end of it. And they've never been back since. So one circuit Mercedes had no luck at Le Mans. They've had a lot of disasters go there. It's like it's their cursed circuit. Oh! I arrived there a lot faster than needed. I didn't actually know that the Nissan R91 CP took off. That I did not know. I never knew that, Joe. I know that Mercedes with the CLR had devised it under an extreme interpretation of the bodywork, and there were practically no gaps of any kind, which is tremendous for making it slippery and cutting through the air. But if you got your pitch point wrong, you will get air underneath the car and it'll take off like an aircraft. A brilliant video I recommend watching if you're interested. The legend himself, Chain Bear, did a video for Autosport about it. It's like only like 5 minutes long, and he really explained in great detail how it happened and why. Really, really good video. Well worth checking out if you've got 5 minutes to spare and you're quite interested. Talks about quite why it works, and again, really educational, without being too dramatic either. Give me a slipstream on Ray Cabinaldi and your orange arrows. I want that car, thank you very much. See you later. I deliberately went as late as I could then to avoid any further incident. I don't think so, pal. Back in lane. Back behind me. Get thee behind me, Satan. Actually, no, I'm not playing Shin Megami Tensei. There's no Satan in this game. Of course, back on Wednesday evening, 8 PM BST for more Shin Megami Tensei 4. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. But it's my channel, so I can plug as much as I like. So we're chasing down the Jordans and the Ferraris to put 2 laps on as we get nearly to the halfway point actually. Lap 38 we will be halfway through the race. So we're not doing too bad for time, we're doing better than I thought. Be just over an hour and a half at this rate. It's a shame that they didn't simulate the circuit getting more grip as the tyres are used on it and the rubber goes down. It'd have been nice to simulate if they'd had that in the game, but they don't. Oh, what the hell? Narain Karthikayan, get back behind me and stay there. Or Tiago Montero, whoever it is piloting that car, know your place, stay behind me, give it up. Well, whoever's messaging me, now's not the time. Sorry to say, I am kind of busy at the moment. Oh yes, this is good. Yeah, it's a nice relaxing drive, this isn't it? There's not much else to really say on these races. That's the only thing with them. They do go on for quite a long time, so you just got to relax, stay calm, and take it easy. It's one of the few roundabouts in North America, in Canada. No, it's in New York, I'm talking nonsense. Although I don't remember seeing anyone who was in Canada actually, I didn't see any roundabouts. Roundabouts are 10 a penny here in the UK. We have a roundabout near Oxford called the Magic Roundabout. It is the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's like 9 roundabouts together. And if you actually take a look at it from above, it boggles the mind. I took one look at it and went, there's absolutely no way in hell I'd be driving through that. If you ever want to have a laugh, just go online and Google search the Magic Roundabout Oxford. And you take a look at it and tell me if it makes any kind of sense whatsoever from a road layout perspective to you. As a former auto insurance claims handler, we hated any incidents involving there, because we needed about 19 investigators to have any kind of idea as to who had right of way. In the end, we just ended up dropping hands and going, you pay for yours, we'll pay for ours. It's too much of a ball ache to sort this out in court. That's how it used to always get settled in the end, I think. Oh, this is actually a very fast lap. This might be a new fastest lap. Oh, it shattered it. 1:13.5. Wow, where did that come from? Considering I was cracking jokes halfway through the lap as well. That's insane. You say that sounds about right, Avian. That's how insurance works. We just like take the simplest approach. Is it covered? Yes. Well, let's sort it out. Oh, interestingly, someone's in the pits on lap 37. They're well out of sequence, whoever that is. I'm not sure who that is that's in the pits. They seem to be very, very out of sequence. Either they've made their tyres last way longer than anybody else, or they've burned them up very quickly. This one's not as fast, I can tell already. So you can see we've just gone a second slow. It just shows we've pulled a magic lap together out of nowhere, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You just got to be prepared for it to treat it as what it is, a magic lap. Oh, Joe, I gotta say, the Arc de Triomphe, I've seen that one. Now that is wacky races. It's probably equivalent to the Magic Roundabout in Oxford. The Arc de Triomphe. Of course, I remember that famous clip when Top Gear took I think it was the Ferrari F430, the Ford GT and the Pagani Zonda around it. And they had that like really hilarious classical music playing while they were doing it. And you just looked at it and you thought, this is so going to go wrong. This is so going wrong at any moment. You were getting ready for a huge, very expensive fireball. I certainly was when I watched that episode. Oh, I very nearly did a David Coulthard and ploughed into the front of the pit wall then. That was a stupid thing to do. Oh, that was ugly. Yeah, I've just taken the last of my tyre life out with that. That was bad. That was bad driving, that. But I'm going to stick it out for the next lap because I want to be pitting on lap 50 and lap 60. After that, I can do maybe 7 laps and then pit again, just to get some really fast laps at the end of the race. But I need to keep the 10 laps. I need to keep the 10 lap stops for now. Because the current projection one, I'd stop on lap 70 and have 4 laps. It's kind of pointless. So if I do my final stop on lap 67, and then I'll have enough laps to get me to the end, and it means that I can have 2 decent stints. But I need to get through lap 40 to 50 and 50 to 60 first. So let's do that now. So we've not done too badly. We're just coming up to 50 minutes in and we've done 40 laps, so we're well over halfway. Oh god, you can feel the tyres falling away from me. You can just see me sliding when I'm going into corners now. I'm not quite doing a Keiichi Tsuchiya and drifting the car initial D style, but I'm certainly on the ragged edge of grip here. Let's say if it wasn't for the copyright issues, I'd actually put music like that on just for a laugh while I was driving. But unfortunately, it would get me copyrighted quite quickly. Right, into the pits we go. Right, so get ready, Avian. You're gonna see me banish our most hated part of the game again. Get ready. And click, 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 it's gone. So this is actually a nice view to drive from this. It's not quite a cockpit view, but it's close to it. Apparently this game did actually have cockpit views planned, but it was cut. I remember seeing some photos somewhere, someone's managed to restore some of them. Traction down and on we go, keeping it moving. That's all we can do. Pretty decent hour lap at 1:37. Let's see how fast we can go. So this will tell us just how far behind. Bear in mind they're already a lap down as well. So they're a lap and whatever this gap is behind me, so they're a long way back. We had like a lap and 36 seconds behind, which is just ridiculous. It's really silly. You have to be so patient on the throttle through those corners. I hate that section. Yeah, the reflections being coated is awesome actually. I agree with you, Avian. Again, I think it's the kind of thing you wouldn't have noticed back in the day because most of us ran this game through the likes of a composite output or a really low quality SCART cable. Being able to run it in 1080i through the 4K upscaler, you're seeing a lot more of the things that were in the game that weren't really visible, and that's a crash. I got too busy distracted talking about graphical fidelity, but to be fair, it's not cost me any time, so all's well that ends well. So it was an early attempt at the showing what you could get from the machine that many people saw as underpowered. A lot of people felt the PlayStation 2 wasn't as powerful as it could have been. When the Capcom ported Resident Evil 4 from the GameCube, they had to cut a lot of things back to make it work, which I always found strange, because I was always of the opinion, or of the belief, should I say, that the GameCube wasn't that good a console, but it seems I was massively wrong. So for anyone who owned a GameCube, I apologise for being a complete and utter pillock who knows nothing about your machine. think I actually hold the record for the longest gap between Nintendo consoles. I had a Game Boy in 1989, and then I bought a Nintendo Switch when I did the SMT5 stream. It's the longest gap between Nintendo consoles I've, well, personally had, and I've not heard of any lot longer than that. Nice to have both, Mavian, that's amazing. I was PS2 and Dreamcast. Of course, the Dreamcast kind of died before it could be a serious threat to the PS2. And I was happy with the PS2, to be fair. The PS2 was a damn good console. I got a lot of use out of it. Yeah, Nintendo have always been better for family-friendly gamers. They've had a few exceptions to the rules, such as Resident Evil 4 and Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem on the GameCube. You also had the likes of Zombie U on the Wii U. You had the likes of Mad World and what was the other one called? Oh, really going to annoy me, that. A game where you play as Travis. No More Heroes. Games like that were quite violent and not family friendly, but in general most of them were much more family friendly, because that's how Nintendo have done it. They've always rolled with being the family computing team. It's why in Japan the NES was known as the Famicom. It was literally a family computer. That's literally what it was short for. So even in the 90s, like, Sega went much more for the teenage audience with their games. There was a lot more sports games, a lot more edgy, fast-paced games and fighting games, because it was much more geared towards that platform. And that was an era that I'll never forget. The Sega versus Nintendo wars. And then Sony came along and beat both into submission, which is both funny and at the same time kind of sad. Because both Nintendo and Sega could have worked with Sony, could have made a great platform together, decided to go against them and paid the price. Pretty much exactly that, Avian. Yeah, when Nintendo screwed them over, they went, right, okay, that's it, we'll make our own console. And boy, did they get there, did they turn up to the party. Saying my original PS1, still love it. Absolutely great console, the PS1. So many classic games on that. One of the greatest game libraries of all time, PS1. One of the most varied, one of the most innovative, most rewarding to play. Yeah, just so many classics. I could spend days talking about the PS1 and how great it was. Get out of my way, Enrique Benoldi. Move. I said get out of my way. Bloody back marker, back in your hole. At the moment, Sony are leading, yes, Joe, but the thing is, they're making themselves far less trusted by the audience of gamers at the moment. They've made some seriously questionable announcements of late. The biggest one being, of course, the huge price hike that they put to the PlayStation Network, and they've really not shown much in the way of improvement of quality for it either. And it was like a system where they seem to have gravitated away from gamers, and with Microsoft now able to purchase Activision Blizzard, which takes another huge publisher off the open market, I think they're going to be in serious trouble. So there's going to be some serious issues there. But you say you were on the PS1 today, were you, Joe? What were you playing? Because I still play the odd PlayStation 1 game. It's like, it's something about going back to the old classics and reliving them from a modern lens. Ah, Hogs of War. Good game, the Hogs of War. Rick Mail doing the voice acting of a load of pigs that were shooting each other with rocket launchers. I went in there way faster than I should, and it messed my braking distance up hugely. And that's the difference the slipstream has there. You see, I only needed to brake off 30 metres earlier. That's ridiculous. But I like the fact they simulated that. That's right, Mr. Jordan. Give me a distant toe. I want that. I'll do nicely, thank you. Take a toe on him after he goes into the pits, so I'll put a lap on him while he's gone for a pit stop. Which is intriguing because obviously I want to try and get as far along as I can and try and get another gap on them where possible, because we're into the penultimate stretch. We've got 2 more stops after this, of any luck. Well, 3 including the next one. So seriously, Avian, Hogs of War is basically a 3D version of Worms, but with pigs, and it's brilliant. It's really funny as well because Rick Mail does all the voice acting. So if you watch the likes of Bottom, likes of Blackadder, all that kind of thing, or you saw the Bombardier beer adverts, the guy who speaks a bit like this, he's the one who does all the voices, and it's really, really funny. Let's celebrate with a pint of meat! Huzzah! I don't want to do a full-scale impression because I will blow my microphone out with the volume, and you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear me blow my microphone out. Right, he's just gone into the pits now. If I have a really fast in-lap, I might actually manage to stay out ahead of him, having lapped him, thanks to the way they fuel. Motoring along. This is the lap where we are going to stop. This will be our next pit window. You can feel the tyres going. You can hear how they're not quite biting out the corners now. They're sliding a bit more. That's because the tyres are at what's known as the edge or the cliff, and we are about to go over it because I have burned these tyres hard on this stint. You hear how it was like really screeching when I got the accelerator down them. That tells me there is no grip left in these tyres, so let's be careful here. We've previously spun out of this corner before. Yeah, I'm really struggling to keep the car in a straight line now. These tyres are absolutely clapped out. Listen to the wheel spin there, people. But we're into the pits. So we go up on the jacks. Now let's get a load of fuel in while we can. Right, well, some cars are going to go back past us unless they go into the pits, and the answers are no. So he's just come out behind him. Change view. Yeah, there he is. We've already caught up to him. We've barely lost any time doing that. Sorry, dude, you lose. You're 2 laps behind me now. Yeah, while the tyres are warming up, wanted to get the power in there as quick as I could, and we're through to the next part. All good. Interesting area said, I don't know what specs it'd have, but the gaming laptop I bought was an Asus, and that's what I was running when I started trying to run Dishonored and everything else, and that made me upgrade after a while. But all my Persona streams were done via the Asus notebook, and that was pretty good. So they're not a bad brand, but let's say if Chromebook works, go for it. You get yourself a nice little gaming machine, give you access to something else online, which would be cool. Maybe you can even get some emulators and play some old school classics using emulation. Excellent, we're doing good. So we've got 2 stops after that. We've got 2 stops left, and then this race will be completed. I'll briefly have to go away from my PC after this because I need to go and get some water, because I foolishly left my water bottle downstairs. So I'll have to go and grab that in a few moments after the race is over. Won't be gone long. It'll be a very quick pit stop, and then we will be back to do the second race in tonight's session. And that will be the end of the stream after that. I don't know where the next race is taking place. That's going to make things interesting. I'd love it to be somewhere like Le Mans. That'd be really interesting in a Formula 1 car. But I get the feeling it won't be. So what I understand, this series is meant to replicate both Formula 1 and IndyCar. So the races are 300 kilometres, like in Formula 1. And some of the circuits around street circuits and all that are meant to emulate events from actual IndyCar. So there'll be one at Laguna Seca, for example, for a famous IndyCar race there. There'll be one I reckon we'll be doing Suzuka, because that'll be like the Japanese F1, same as Monaco, same as Nürburgring for the 300 kilometres of Nürburgring. Yeah, the doggo's using your leg as a pillow, so your water bottle's inaccessible. Mine's got a slightly different reason, but yeah, they're both quite annoying reasons in many ways. But you got to respect the doggo. So we're 2 laps and 17 seconds ahead, people. That's pretty crazy. As we keep on driving, keeping it nice and smooth. Or at least trying to, using all the road. Oh yes. So this is a very, very fast run as we keep things going. Avian, I'm totally the same. You know, the whole everyone that works talking about how it's only 2.5 months to Christmas and everything else, and I'm like, seriously, really? Where has the world gone? Answer to hell in a handbasket. That's where the world's gone. But yes, I know the same feeling. I can't stand the shopping areas during Christmas period. It's rushed. It's busy. Everyone's shouting at each other, and oh god, no, not for me. Totally not my style. I've worked in retail during that period. Until you work in retail during Christmas, you don't realise just how abusive people can be. People just gave you abuse for no reasons. What do you mean I can't get this game for my child? You can't get it, it's out of stock. Well, that's not my problem, you should get me a new one. Can't do that, we're out of stock. And you get people swearing at you, you get people threatening to kill you. It's like you're just thinking, look, I'm just here to do a job. It doesn't give you a right to abuse me. Will you kindly shut the fuck up? Oh, I know the feeling, Joe. Over here in the UK, there were some stores that started advertising Christmas decorations in August. In my Britain, that would be punishable by 6 months in prison. Until Guy Fawkes night is over, you do not advertise Christmas where I am, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's like, it'd be like advertising St. Patrick's Day in April, for example. It's just so stupid. That wasn't very clever. Oh, no, Avian, no, nix. No one should be putting Christmas decorations up in fucking October. That is a serious crime. Strangest experience for me was when I was in Japan for Halloween in 2015, and one half of the store had Christmas decorations and one half jack-o'-lanterns for Halloween. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I'm like, for fuck's sake, really? Oh yes, new fastest lap. That's amazing. That's wonderfully British. That. What month is this again? Love it. That's fantastic, Avian. I love that. What month is this? Right, put them back in their lane where they belong. Meanwhile, good evening to you, Queen. I've just seen you jump in there saying you finally made it home. Well, I hope you're doing alright. Everything's fine thus far. We're deep in the race at New York. I've no idea where we're going to be racing next. And Avian was just sharing a story of how apparently someone on their street has put up Christmas decorations already. So if anyone's in the area, do us all a favour, will you please take them down? It's 2.5 months away. At least wait until like the late November. If you're going to put them up early, don't be putting them up in October. Don't be that individual. It's like, don't do that. It's like giving me a microphone. You just don't do it. Oh, wait. Well, you do raise a point there, Queen, unfortunately. Yes, that's a minor inconvenience. They're both minor inconveniences that you don't want to be getting involved in, I suppose. As tempting as that is, Avian, I think Queen's raised a very fair counterpoint as to why. Best not to. Best to leave that one in the realm of the daydream, I think. It's a fun idea, I like it, but nah, not going to work. Right, now that my tyres are screaming for mercy, we are going to go into the pits for the penultimate time. We've got one more stop after this. So into the box we go. Now, Queen, you're going to appreciate this. You're going to see a magic trick in a couple of moments. Don't spoil it, people. So, we're coming out of the pits. And as you can see, there's Get Ready to Drive. It has gone. Yes, I found a way to fix it. I found a way to get rid of it. Zombie Santa, that sounds very similar to the Bill Goldberg movie Santa's Sleigh, where basically Santa was secretly Satan. By the way, it's a horrible movie, don't watch it. The concept is funny, but the execution is awful. And I say, the thing is, Queen, on previous streams that didn't work. But I found a setting deep in my system that I'm running this on that allowed it to run on an extra mode, and when you change the view it just gets rid of it. I don't know why. I won't profess to understand the reason. All I know is that it works. Yay, the doggo's moved. You can get some water, which is what I'm going to do after this race. I'm going to have to briefly go downstairs. So you will be seeing the dulcet tones of the splash screen for a very, very, very short amount of time, people. Don't worry, I won't be long. It's just that I left my water bottle downstairs. So I need to be able to get a drink. I've been talking near non-stop about bollocks. I want to wet my whistle, as my mother calls it. No, that sounds dirty when you say that, doesn't it? So I'll probably come into the pits at lap 68, I think. That'll be the final pit stop, and I'll be able to go through the tyres all out of time without having to preserve them. Not that I'm actually preserving the tyres at the moment anyway, but I'll be able to really lean on the tyres for the last few laps. Not long left now, people. You've done really well to stick this out. Thank you all so much, as we are getting close to the end of this race, and we'll be able to find out where our next destination on the World Championship is going to be. I expect it to be somewhere not so great, but we will find out. I've already got a few circuits in mind that we're going to do at some point in this series. There's no doubt we're going to do Laguna Seca. There's no doubt we're going to do Nordschleife. I won't be surprised if we do Le Mans, even though that'll be a throwback to a 50s race. We're likely to do Suzuka. Probably going to do Fuji, the 2005 variant, which became the F1 circuit in 2007 and 2008. Where else could we end up doing? Well, Monaco, Monte Carlo. We'll definitely do Monte Carlo. Oh god, the beginner course. Oh no. God, Joe, that'd be something stupid like 700 laps. Please, fucking no. Do not let that be a course. Oh, don't you dare. Do not be a course on this, Pat Casanori. Don't you dare have been that much of a troll. Oh, Grand Valley. Yes, that's a good shout, actually. Grand Valley would be a good racetrack, actually. Grand Valley is actually a really good shout, Joe. Yeah, I forgot about Grand Valley. Trial Mountain in an F1 car, that could be fun. Oh no, I'll tell you where it could be hilarious, actually. El Capitan, with all the jumps. That could be piss funny in a Formula 1 car. What does Joe get if he's right about the beginner course? He gets added to the list of shame for coming up with such a horrendous idea. For Grand Valley, though, you get a huge double thumbs up from me, because that's a good circuit. Tell you where could be funny for an F1 race, actually, but I don't think it's going to happen. The test course. Going around the test course in the Formula 1. Got Scuba. Oh, that'd be ridiculous. Scuba in F1 cars. We'll be doing something daft like 130 laps, maybe 160. It's such a short circuit, and you need to get to 300 kilometers. Which is a reason why we probably won't do the test course now, think about it. Because the test course would be flat out. We'd never once have to brake. And I think we'd probably do each lap is about 10 kilometers, I think. Whoa, was it? 25 laps of the test course. I bet that was brilliant. That'd be so quick. You'd be able to blitz that. Take all the downforce off and just go maximum attack. That'd be brilliant. Oh, what the hell? Did you just clip the wall and then cut across me? Oh, well, if you want to go into the pits, you're going to have to go the long way around. Ah! Oh, you cheeky motherfucker! Thinking you can unlap me? Who do you think you are? Back in your hole! Get back where you belong, how dare you! Trying to put up a race against me now that I've lapped you for the third time? Get back in the loser lane, stay where you belong! Say 25 laps of the test course would be quite fun. Well, actually, it would probably be the most boring stream in the world. Right, people, how high is our top speed going to be? Because that's probably the most interactivity we get out of that one. And we also drive it one-handed most of the time. Yay! You've been released, have you, Avian? That's good news. You've served your time, and now you're back. End of the next lap, we're going to box, and then I'm going to do the final pit stop. Special Stage Route 5 could be quite interesting. I'd prefer Special Stage Route 11, but Route 5 is a great circuit. That'd be fun. I reckon Trial Mountain would be good, actually. Trial Mountain would work very, very well. Also, what's it called? Was known originally as Plum Strip and then changed its name, beginning with Apricot Hill. I think that'd be a good race as well. Apricot Hill would work quite well. Oh, Seoul in South Korea. If the Seoul circuit shows up, that's going to be a very, very high amount of laps, because I reckon we'd do a lap in about 40 seconds. There, I reckon about a 40-second lap, so I reckon we'll be on for a very, very short race for that one. Which I'm all for, to be honest. It'd be a good laugh. Well, I say a short race, it depends how many laps we'd have to do. Right, let's get into the pits. Yes, this stream is officially the pits. I've got enough fuel. So get ready, Queen. We're going to do the magic trick one more time in 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. So I love all the low-res advertising in the back, you know, like McDonald's and Bon Marche and Virgin and all the Infinity and all the other companies that are in the background. It's so funny. So I'm hoping the Hong Kong circuit doesn't show up, because that'll be an absolute nightmare in an F1 car. It's so narrow. So Twin and Motegi could be good as well, now I think about it, because we've done Motegi Super Speedway. The full circuit of Motegi could be great fun, now I think about it. That's quite a long track as well, it's quite a long circuit. Using the MotoGP, I believe. So could you imagine it in the special stage Route 10 from the GT5 onwards, the really, really long course? That could be amusing. So I'd say we're into the final few laps. We should be done by about 1 hour 35 minutes of any luck, which would be awesome timing for the first race of tonight's stream. We'll do the second race afterwards, and then I will be in the office tomorrow, so I've got a long train journey in. It's going to be alright, won't be too bad. We're on lap 69, which is James Hunt's favourite lap number, that, if it was a thing in his day. We're on lap 69. Oh yeah, giggity giggity. Say these tyres are low grip but low wear, but high wear. It's a strange one. You get neither fish nor fowl from these tyres. You don't get the protected tyre wear, and you don't get the pace either. But the car is still unbelievably quick and unbelievably joyous to drive. Yep, keep him behind me and get ahead. So that's fantastic. The big question on my mind is, why couldn't I be Kaiju Alice for the rest of the game when I was playing Alice Madness Returns? I was having way too much fun stomping everything as Giant Alice. I want to do that again. The best thing about that is it's because she ate cake. So if anyone tells you cake is bad for you, they're wrong. That game proves it. Because after all, how can you possibly say cake is bad for anybody? Who has honestly felt bad after eating cake? I'll wait. I mean, it's a simple strategy. I'll give it that much. It's a simple strategy, that one, Avian. Oh god, yes, that was brilliant, wasn't it, Queen? It was that proper grin of you don't know what's going to happen next kind of thing. It was brilliant. I say she'd had enough of everyone's shit at that point. It was awesome. I just love the fact that he had that dejected groan, dropped his scythe, and then Alice just smirked and stamped all over him. I'm sure the creator of that game had played SMT and was like, yes, I'm going to borrow from this when I make my game. Maybe that's something I ought to look out for next time I'm at Con. I ought to look out for an Alice Madness Returns cosplayer so I can get Alice from SMT and Alice from Madness in one photo together. Would you argue with either of them? No, you would not. In fact, speaking of that, I got a new delivery today. I found online a basically like a cosplay makeup stick, and I tested it out early, and it applied so much easier than what I was using before. So I'm in the process. Hopefully, I'm going to see if I can commission a new Alice dress, and if I can, I'll look even better when I do it next time. Very true, Queen. Yeah, it's like, well, shit. What the fuck do I do now, kind of thing. He'd spent up until that point laughing as she was trying to escape him, and then finally the shoe was very much on the other foot. So we're on to the final lap, people. So it's going to be slightly over 1 hour and 35 minutes, more like 1 hour and 36, but it's cool. Considering that we've also done a little bit of practice, it's taken a bit longer than usual, this one. But no matter, we will have to take a brief break while I get my water bottle, and then we will go to the next race, and that'll be the second half of the stream. So we're just going to enjoy our victory lap here at New York, bring the car home, as we've already racked up 586 miles on the odometer for this car. I've heard online, by the way, you can't change the oil for this car, you can't improve the body's rigidity, but you don't need to. The car apparently is indestructible, it will never wear out. If only F1 cars could be that reliable. I mean, ask McLaren in 2014. here we go. We'll go over to the pit wall. We'll flash in the pan. We'll say hi to the team as we take in the victory lap. Oh yes, we win 1 hour 35 and 51 minutes. And you can see that low red texture that we have on this part, you can see for the red one, that's very much the Ferrari livery from this era. The white stripe, the big red on the top, that's clearly advertised. We didn't even see them cross the line. We don't know how many laps behind us they finished, but it was quite a lot, to say the least. That's really helped us in the championship though, because we are now 2 race victories clear of quite a few of our rivals, but the Ferrari and the orange arrows are still in touching distance, so we don't want to be popping the champagne cork just yet. There's still a long way to go in this championship. So let's quickly, before we do that, let's very quickly back out to the main title screen so we can get our save done. So if I go here, it'll say, yep, exit and go this race and go to the menu screen, which is exactly what I want. And that's purely because of 2 things. The first being that I want to save my game, which has just happened now. So I'm going to very briefly go to the splash screen to get my water bottle. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. And just like that, we're back. See, I told you I wasn't going very far at all. So, let's find out what this next race is going to be then. I'm intrigued. The high-speed ring? That's a shock. That's not a track I expected. That I'm really surprised at. That's a shock. That is a very welcome surprise. I was not expecting the high-speed ring. That I was not expecting. Here we go. This is going to be brilliant. We're going to have some serious fun here. Even though it looks more like the Queen. What's that race called? But in Mass Effect, who speak a bit like this, and when they're terrified. It reminds me of one of them. Right, this is going to be a very fast race indeed. This is going to be very, very fast. All the time that we lost in New York, we're making up here. This is going to be a very, very quick race. L-car, that's it, yes, reminds me of the L-car. Just like on the right hand side, you know, the way the hairpin corner looks, reminds me of the front face that they have. That was pretty sloppy, that was poor handling, that. I'm disappointed in myself. That's the one, yeah, the big giant squishy almost like elephant-like race, yeah. Yeah, we're lapping very, very quickly. This is going to be a very, very fast race. And depending on tyre wear, it'll depend on how quickly we need to stop. Every 7 laps will be 11 stops. I'm hoping it's not going to be that many. But it was 10 stops at the New York track, so it's possible the same might apply here. So this is not a track I expected to be in it. I'm very surprised we're doing the high speed ring. Well, have you got any regrets on Mass Effect where you just got to play through it again, aren't you? I mean, why would you want to do that? You played it that many times. Answer, because you love it. That's why. Oh, very, very twitchy all of a sudden then. The back end did not like that. This is just awesome. This is just... Oddly enough, this circuit, by the way, not a real life circuit, but in GT7, it's in Japan. That's where they set this. I'm quite surprised by that. The background doesn't look like it really fits here, but it is, apparently. Use the banking. Ah, there's not a Single course with a cannon strapped to its back. Ah, so while there's a description you don't see it. That's sad. BioWare, you let the side down with that one. You let the side down big time. We're still lapping about 4 seconds a lap faster than the field, who are all in like one big giant bunch, while I'm like, F1 car go boo. It's like the SMT memes. No, you can't raise your evasion to max or start the battle mean or lose touch. I can't hit you. It's not fun. It's cheap. When Capote goes boo. Yes, Avian, are you still getting PTSD flashbacks from that particular fight in Shin Megami Tensei X-Ray Nocturne? I can glow because I beat him first time. This is a joy to drive in this car. It's just so utterly joyous and fast and flowing, and it's just beautiful. So much fun. Apologies, David. I was only poking a little fun. It's not. You're getting curb stomped by Matador is not much fun. It is an SMT rite of passage apparently, which I've managed to miss out on. But then again, I got curb stomped by other bosses, didn't I? SMT4's in my rite of passage into SMT, to be fair. Which, of course, we're back doing on Wednesday. Be interesting to see how I get on there. In that new section in the underground of the Priestess world that we're in. Not been able to grind offline off that because I'm at a point where there's no enemies. I can't proceed without engaging the plot, so I'm stuck with what I had, apart from a couple of new fusions I made that I'm looking forward to showing off. Well, I'm not going to say any more than that. You want to see it? Be there on Wednesday, 8 PM BST. I'm getting good at this plug-in malarkey, aren't I? And I don't think many people can play SMT4 Avian. I don't think many people have the patience for it. Even though I'm really liking that game, I'm really loving it. It's challenging to say the least, but it's a lot of fun. Oh wow, this is really, really good fun so far. And if these tyres can hold out a few more laps, we're going to be in a good position. We're well clear of the field here. We are so far ahead. fuel economy is not going to be a problem because we'll be able to refuel the car with these. So it's tyre wear that's the issue. It's just so much fun to drive in this car. You're just like aiming for corners and they're still there. It's one of the most satisfying experiences I've had so far in this F1 car. It's like you're flying out of corners at just really high speeds. And while the car isn't as effective here, it's very effective in the next part of the circuit. If I can do to the end of the next lap, we'll be on course for a 7-stop race. And that'll be pretty ideal, given the tyres we've got that we have to bore with. It's all a question as to whether that front left tyre can hang on. If the front left tyre can hang on, we're sorted. But the big danger is this part of the course here, because the car is very, very prone to snap into the left at very high speed. I'm just starting to feel the grip going. It's, you know, it's one of those where the car is just about to let go, so now's the time to box, I think. I don't know if you can go into the pits from the right hand side. Plus it'd be a bit cheating to do that, let's be honest. It'd be a very cheap strategy to do, but this is where they should make a load of time back, because this pit lane is very, very slow. This is a very slow pit lane. Just put about 15 units of fuel in, I think. Oh no, we can go to the top. They timed out at exactly the same time. That's fine. Right, so we're still retaining the lead. We've got a lead of about 6 seconds maybe. No more than that. Got away with that. One tyre off on the dirt was enough. So this feels closer to one of the IndyCar races purely because of the speeds we're going to. So there's a car up ahead that's likely to be losing a lap very shortly, which is awesome. And we're nearly at 20% distance already, we're not far off. Actually no, we're not. Lap 22 is a 20% distance. No it isn't, I'm talking nonsense, I'm talking out of my arse again. Wow, that guy was like not even moving at the speed I took that corner down. It was like he was like stopped still. That was insane. So after only 14 laps, we've lapped the field. That's hilarious. This is a nice, relaxing way to end the evening because this is a race of pure pace. We continue to drive at very high speed. No issues whatsoever. Damn it. I was on for a really quick lap then as well, and I blew it at that corner. That's not good for tyre wear. Need a much better line than that. That was poor. That was a sloppy lap. It was very fast and then went very slow, and I've really hurt my tyres doing it that way as well, which is not ideal. That's a lot better. Boom, into the 50s. That's a fast lap. That's awesome. Yeah, this is very relaxing, isn't it, people? Seeing me absolutely demolish the corners. It is called the high-speed ring, after all. You weren't lying. Question is, will this race end in more than an hour or not? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how fast we're going to go. That's interesting, Joe. I thought High Speed Ring was in practically every game. I'm surprised it wasn't in GT3. That's a real surprise, that. I thought it would have been. Yeah, it seemed like, again, one of the signature dish circuits, the High Speed Ring. Great way to introduce beginners to the course. You can do a lot of different kinds of races on it with ease. Both layouts provide their own challenges. I'm surprised at that because it's a decent introduction track. But it's kind of like how there's some circuits which have not been in forever. I mean, look at Red Rock Valley, for example. Only ever appeared in Gran Turismo 2, and no one to this day has ever been able to explain why. Tahiti Road would make a brilliant one for the classic cars, you know, like the old 60s Corvettes and everything else. That's not been in the game since GT2. Special stage Route 11, that's not been seen since 2003 in Gran Turismo 3. It's the Seattle circuit, that's not been back since GT PSP to my understanding. It's crazy how many circuits that are just lost. It's weird, I don't get it. Red Rock Valley was brilliant, very fast, very fast that one. I did a lot of races at Red Rock Valley because of course I wanted to get the TVR Speed 12 to sell. Yeah, Grindelwald, that was a great one known as Eager Pass in the debug stage. That was a great track actually at Grindelwald. Again, it would be great for the the Mercedes challenges and everything else. It would have been a brilliant inclusion. I'm going to try and stop at the end of the next lap, because if I do that I'll be on for a 7-stop strategy, which is ridiculous for a race when you think about it, but given the tyres we're on, the speeds we're going at, I'll more than take that. It's not quite like a super speedway where the computer was just like pitting for stupid reasons, gifting me a victory with absolute ease. Well, that was lucky. But this time, straight into the pits. I'd say lap 39 is when we're going to be at half race distance. So the question is just how close are we going to get to it. Yeah, might as well leave it to fully charge up. Wasn't going to be gaining anything by not refueling then. I'd gained no time at all. And as can be seen, we've kept our lap on the field, so we're in a really good position now to attack. Yeah, I agree, Joe. They do seem to remove the best tracks, and yet there's some tracks they've kept which are great. Like Deep Forest is still there, Trial Mountain's still there, they're fantastic. But then you get some like tracks that aren't as good that get added, and it's a shame. It'd be nice to see, you know, some of the classic tracks return. And on a Midfield Raceway was updated for like Gran Turismo 6, and it's never come back since. Obviously this received a gigantic update for this game. 25 laps down already. Now I've just realised something. I forgot to do that. I've been driving with that on my screen for ages. I just noticed it out of the corner of my eye. I got so focused on the line, I didn't even pay attention to it. You know when they say your eyes can get used to a hazard? There's proof. My eyes adapted to it. I was so busy focusing on my line and focusing on my speed, I didn't pay attention to the big words that I didn't want on the display. You say you didn't realise either, Joe. It just shows how you can get focused and in the zone, can't you? Well, at least that proves there's no jinxing involved, Avian. You can rest easy now. Yep, there go the field, all lapped once again. Yeah, I suppose if you just get so used to the speed of it, you kind of don't pay too much attention. But it's still nice that I got rid of it. It looks better now that it's gone. Looks far cleaner. As we continue to dominate the field, because this is just a curb stomping. There's no way the Group C cars could go through that corner at that speed. So it shows where you can make up the time in the Formula Gran Turismo. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. We're not far off half distance already, people. How crazy is that? It's just eating the corners for breakfast. It's like just decimating the circuit. So around about lap 38, I think is going to be the half race distance. 38, 39. In this car you can get your lap time consistency so high, it's ridiculous. Another 2 laps and then we'll box again. One more lap after this one and then we're in the box once again, and we will be motoring towards half race distance, which is brilliant. Look at the pack of cars up ahead of us all racing, and I'm just there behind them, just absolutely flying on my own, completely untroubled, not a single issue in sight. Cornering at a rate of knots that they can only dream of. But we're not going to overtake them because we're diving into the pits. At this rate, we're looking at about a 70-minute Grand Prix, I think. About an hour and 10 minutes, I reckon. And part of that's how long these pit stops are. They're adding at least another 3 or 4 minutes to our journey. So we'll let the fuel go into the car. Check out the high-res modelling on our guy there. Plenty of polygons to say though. You raise a fair point actually, Avian. Yes, we're not going to overtake them just yet. Was trolling me then, the message wouldn't disappear, and it's because I wasn't technically out of the pit lanes or I wasn't yet driving. This is one of the faster races. It's amazing. It's just so much fun to tackle the corners at such high speed. This corner here feels really pedestrian because there's no banking, so you just have to actually take it naturally. But then after this, it's just all out war on the rest of the course. It's brilliant. Like going round the bend, that's practically a hairpin at 155 miles an hour. That's just insane. That's, in fact, I'd say it's ridiculous. It's kind of like how they take turn 3 at Zandvoort nowadays in Formula 1. Where they all do that really high line using the banking, and it looks spectacular. Gotta say, massive props to the owners of that circuit when they designed that corner. They really made that something special. What I call the bowl. I don't know if it's actually got a proper name. Oh, well, that's not very good. I've completely messed up that corner. I got too busy gushing about the bowl that I wasn't paying attention to the circuit. Went very, very wide, very off the circuit. Very poor driving, and yet I'm just laughing because they're not even close to me. It's like, whoops. Well, anyway, let's carry on. Take the Gran Turismo 7 Highline. Just add a bit of variety to it. We'll go a different way. That's because the car went during the high line. It went, I felt the line go up and it threw me off. I felt the line twitching, you know, the back of the car. I'm like, oh no, this is not good, kind of thing. But it's cool, because this game being a Gran Turismo game doesn't have crash damage at all. Wasn't there a Gran Turismo where they actually did have a damage engine and then it got taken out? Something like maybe GT5 or something like that. I'm sure there was a Gran Turismo that did actually have damage at one point. Unlike, well, that's one thing you can say for Forza. The Forza games had crash damage even for the Ferraris and all the high-end exotic brands. It's like, no, you're not. We are going to simulate crash damage. You're not going to get away with your cars looking pristine all the time. Something that Gran Turismo's never really bought into, which is a shame. But then again, with the price of parts in Gran Turismo 7, having to buy replacement parts for when you crash would be the ultimate painful simulator for most drivers, so maybe it's a good thing. That time I kept my foot in all the way. I did not take my hand off the accelerator. I kept my foot down. I did not brake for that final corner then. And it got me a few tenths of a second because we've now got a new fastest lap, but you can't get around this one flat because of the grass on the outside. Because of the grass you have to brake. Try it again. My only concern with that is tyre wear. It's my only concern with that strategy. But we are over half race distance, people, at 36 minutes. So this is going to be a very, very short race. It's going to literally, as I say, be about an hour and 10 minutes, I reckon. So we're very much into the back end of the race now. Which is a good thing, because New York took so much extra time, so it's good balance. It's not quite as insane as a super speedway was, but it's still pretty good. New fastest lap. Oh yes. Two more laps after this, and then we will be into the box once again as we continue our merciless hunt of the field. Tiny little lift just to get the back end back under control, but nothing too serious, and we're still lapping very fast indeed. Got a big twitch to the left then, from my left tyre. Right, we're taking it easy through the final corner here. I want to make sure I get around without blowing the tyre completely into the red for the next lap. My idea is hopefully that I'll only have to stop another 2 times. Well, this lap, yeah, I'll need to stop 3 times. This lap 55 and lap 56. My idea is to finish the race on red tyres at the front. If I can do that, then I'll save a stop. It'll be a 6-stop strategy, which is awesome. There's the part where all you can do is sit back and watch. It's incredibly annoying. Yep, might as well let the fuel go to the top, because the fuel going all the way to the top means I don't have to worry about running out of fuel. And because they haven't simulated how the car gets lighter and the fuel gets better to manage, and the tyre wear gets better, might as well keep the fuel in the car. It doesn't make your car faster having less fuel, but it does save you a lot of time in the stops over circuits. So you saw that in New York when I was deliberately running well below the maximum line, purely so I didn't have to refuel in the stops, and then save a lot of time that way. Because I think the AI always go to full fuel no matter what part of the race it is. So you can gain quite a lot of time by not putting fuel in the car. As long as you've got enough to make it to your next pit stop, you can save for one stop quite a lot of fuel, and quite a lot of time, should I say, by not refueling. So I'm trying to get the tyres warmed up slowly, because I want to take as little life out of them as I can. 2 more stops and that'll be the end of the race. That's the plan anyway. Let's try the high line at maximum speed. While it's a little shaky, we kept the pace going. Excellent. So this is all about control, all about focus, these races, because you are having basically what are the endurance race length races as an entire series. So for most people it's a real challenge because you're having to think much more long term. But there's a reason why this is an extreme event where you need the S license to qualify. Because you need to prove you are amongst the fastest and the best drivers in the world. If someone says, why the hell are you here? You have to be able to answer. So this is where we're into very much the wind up the speed, go as fast as we can, attack, attack, attack approach. A massive thank you to all you people out there who are still watching and interacting wherever you are. It's still amazing that of all the things you could be doing with your evening, you're watching me pound around high speed ring like this. Thank you very much. It really does mean the world to me. Said it before and I'll say it again, without all of you people the channel would still be active but wouldn't be the same. So thank you again, every last one of you. Well, that was a very poor line to take, wasn't it, people? You know when you get that moment where you see it coming and you're like, this isn't going to work. That's what happened with me then. I'm like, uh-oh. So I say, it's a good thing that we don't have crash damage on you. You've just seen me end my race in a spectacular self-own. So it does show that this game you can get away with things that you should normally not be able to get away with. In the modern F1 games, for example, that would have been terminal damage, something like 27G, and a trip to the medical centre. So yes, I'm about to have a terrible accident, kind of thing. That's pretty much what was going through my brain at that point. As for that, I don't think they're that many laps behind, to be fair, to be honest, actually, Avian. I don't think they're that many laps behind at all. Because I will give them credit, they have been actually keeping the pace quite decently. It's not like at Super Speedway where they were really, really close and then just pitted far too many times. Here, the pace has been pretty consistent and close to mine. They've just not had the track position to get the hammer down and catch up, which again I'm thankful for, because that extra buffer has made a big difference. Oh, that's amazing, Joe. Glad do you feel that way? So we just lapped another car, but the thing is we're going to be pitting in the next few laps, so it's not going to make much difference to his race, I don't think. Unless he takes forever in the pits, which is a possibility knowing these guys. Yes. It's all about taking it smooth. Trying not to crash like I did a couple of laps ago. Yep, so we just lapped the field again. I don't know how many laps that is. I've had such focus on my lap times. I've not really been paying attention to the rest of the field, so it's difficult to know where they are. Two more laps and then we'll pit again. That's more like it, out on the other side. Now for this lap I'm going to take it a bit easier through this corner. I say that and then I get a sidewinder anyway. It's going to be an intriguing one in terms of final time. I reckon it's going to be, say, around about an hour and 10 to an hour and 14 minutes. Very, very fast race. Right, in we go, into the pits, fresh rubber, fresh fuel. Yep, might as well. Full fuel. Excellent, here we go. As we motor on towards what's going to be our final pit stop, so we're not going to need to refuel. We're just going straight in, no refueling, tyres on, out. That's the plan. Excellent, we're doing good. Lap times are strong and we're motoring on towards our final stop and the end of this race, which has been very fun to drive actually. This is exactly the remedy I needed after New York. Those frustrating 90-degree corners, here I am flying through sweepers at 160 miles an hour at a time. Much more my bag. High speed, high velocity, high accuracy. Aside from when I'm crashing into fences and flying over grass and generally getting it wrong, but aside from that, it's been smooth sailing. Lap times are pretty solid. We're in the low 50-second ones at the moment, so we're well on course. We've got 17 laps to go. Yeah, we're looking strong. So hopefully the footage is alright for you all. I'm not seeing any complaints in the chat, so I'm assuming it's okay. Just old PS2 graphics that might not upscale completely right, but we're doing what we can to have fun with it at least. Especially at very high speed. Another 5 laps and it'll be our final stop of the race, and then we'll be motoring towards the end. And as I say, no fuel, just tyres and grip. Oh, we're not far off catching the field again. We might put another lap on them all. Oh, not like that we won't though. That was a horrible line. I don't know what was driving them. That was a terrible line. But it's nice to just go all out for it. There's not much you can really say at the moment apart from speed, power, yeah. But we're getting near the end of this race, and that will be taking us towards the end of the stream. 2 races, 2 very long ones, 2 very different ones as well. New York and high speed run, they were poles apart, weren't they? in terms of the way you drive them, the way you have to do your strategies. Yeah, tyre's reaching the end of its life. I've got to be careful on the next lap. We've also got a pack of cars, but they've already down into the pits. That's convenient. Well, one of them has anyway. Tell you what, give me a draft, you guys. Give me a tow. Give me a tow. Come on, give me a tow. Oh yes, 3 abreast. How cool was that? We just went 3 abreast into that corner and it worked. They've gone into the pits too, so the interesting thing is they might actually need to pit again before the end of the race. I'm not sure. I know I won't, because when I stop at the end of this lap I will not have to pit again, so I'm intrigued as to whether they have to stop one more time. We don't need fuel. Right, so there's the hour time started. Now the question is, can we do this race in less than 1 hour and 10? Could be quite tight, but we'll give it a go. So we're on to the final stretch here, people. This is literally it towards the end. Oh, that wasn't good. Yep, so here we are, final stretch, people. We are targeting a 1 hour 10, anywhere around that time, which is awesome, because it'll get us bang on. Well, we'll actually finish on time, despite it looking like the stream was going to run into overtime at one point, purely because of the New York race. We are going to briefly find out what the next race on the tournament is going to be, so we have an idea. Because we've had two very, very different races, and the question is what the next one's going to be, how fast it's going to be, how long it's going to be. But we've still got to get through the next few laps on this race first, so let's get through this before we even think about the next race of the championship. That was a risky line, but it seems to work. Because we tried to save our tyre life, because we do not want to have to go for another splash in the pits. I really don't want to do that. Fuel's not going to be a problem. We're not going to need to splash and dash. So it's purely the rubber on the axles. If we can keep the rubber going, we'll be fine. I've got a kick of oversteer halfway through that corner, and that's annoying. There's 5 laps to go. Yeah, this is good. A tight one, but we might just get to the end by 1 hour and 10. It might be slightly past it, but either way, my estimation is going to be pretty on point, to be honest. So once we're back to the smaller manufacturer tournaments, I'm going to bring back the whole guessing game, because that was such fun. Over race distances this length, it's not ideal, but we can still do it for the next one. Ooh, 2 very twitchy corners there that didn't quite work the way it should have. Still going to get a decent lap time out of it, but it could have been better. Oh yes, new fastest lap. Awesome. Well, I'm pleased about that. I don't think I'll get near a fastest lap at this point in the race. I'm not going to argue with that. That's great news. There's a big pack of cars ahead of us. There's a chance we can put another lap on them just to rub their nose in it, because we can. God, you guys are so slow through that corner. They had no speed whatsoever. That's why I'm so far ahead of them. That's the reason right there. Because they just don't know how to get the speed out of the car. It's insane. That was a bit cheeky, but it worked. Scything through the traffic like they don't even exist. So we're on the final lap, people. The final lap. This has been an absolute blast to finish. The kind of race you want to finish on. A nice smooth sojourn. Carrying too much speed there and went too wide on the entrance of the corner. But we come out the other side very strong indeed. So it's time to enjoy it. We're going up top, we're going high. And there it is. 1 hour, 10 minutes, 14 seconds, 0.9. And they finished 6 laps behind me. Wow. That is an absolute pasting. They've been absolutely demolished. And that has made a huge difference to the championship because our closest rival got a measly 1 point. We now have more than 2 clear race victories in our back pocket. It's very tight everywhere else in the field, but out in front, the Jag is running away with it. Nice to have a grid start, and we absolutely dominated that race. We were on a whole other planet compared to them. So what we're going to do is quickly back out to the main championship screen because we want to get our game saved. That's what we want to do. Make absolutely certain, and there it is. So we got the save. It's been completely cleared. So with that in mind, let's quickly take a look at where we're at in terms of completion. 74.3%. Absolutely insane. But we've got more than 20,000 A-Spec points. We've been absolutely caning it. So the question is, which circuit are we going to get? I'm going to give you about another 30 seconds, right? So I'd like you all to guess places. So any of the races we've been on so far, which do you think we're likely to have got? You got 30 seconds. And it doesn't matter if you don't guess, it's cool. Well, I want to do a little bit of final interactivity before we wrap up for the night. Say 2 very different races there. The New York one, where the grip was very low and there was really tight, twisty corners, very Mickey Mouse, difficult to keep tyre wear. Then High Speed Ring, where it was literally just all about attacks. Interesting guess from you there, Joe. You reckon it's going to be Fuji. Give you a little while longer and then we're going to find out. So let's quickly go into the hall to see where we get 2005 Fuji specifically. Let's find out. You are going to be... Drum roll, please. No, it's Grand Valley. Well, to be fair, you did say at some point we might be going to Grand Valley, and you are absolutely correct. That is how we are going to be opening the next race in this series. That's going to be next week. Now, we're going to be back on Wednesday evening when we are picking up Shin Megami Tensei 4. But until then, thank you all very, very much for watching. And Max Verstappen Simulator goes burr.